Imagine driving to a lake for a normal Sunday morning. You park your car, walk to the water, and suddenly you see it. A church steeple rising from the water, then a road, then houses, then an entire town, slowly appearing from beneath the lake, like a ghost from the past. You are not dreaming, this is real. This happens in America. And when it happens, thousands of people drop everything and come running. Because what they are seeing is not just a town, it is an entire community that was drowned on purpose. And every few years it comes back to remind us it never really died. The town is called Loyston. Loyston, Tennessee. In the 1930s, Loyston was a perfectly normal American town. Farms, families, a church that had stood for over 100 years. People who had lived there for generations. Children who went to school in the same building their grandparents did. It was not a rich town. It was not a famous town. But it was home to over 300 families who loved it deeply. Then, in 1936, the Tennessee Valley Authority, a government agency, made an announcement. They were building Norris Dam, and Loyston was in the way. The families were told, "Pack your things. Your town is going underwater." Imagine being told that your home, your church, your family cemetery is going to be deliberately flooded forever. That is exactly what happened to every single family in Loyston, Tennessee. The government moved fast. Families were given very little time and very little money for their homes. Some families had to dig up their own family graves and move their loved ones to higher ground before the water came. Think about that for a moment. Digging up your grandmother's grave, moving her remains to a new cemetery because the government is about to drown everything you know. In 1936, the waters of Norris Lake slowly rose over Loyston. The church disappeared first, then the school, then the houses, then the roads, and finally, Loyston was gone, buried under 60 feet of water. The government said it was for progress, for electricity, for the greater good. The 300 families who lost everything were not so sure. But here is where the story gets truly unbelievable. Loyston did not stay dead. Every few years, when drought hits Tennessee and the lake water drops, Loyston comes back. Slowly at first, the top of the old church steeple breaks the surface. Then, the stone walls of the old school. Then, the roads, still perfectly laid out exactly as they were in 1936. Then, the foundations of the old houses. The entire town, frozen in time, emerges from the water like it is waking up from a long sleep. And when this happens, something incredible occurs. People come from everywhere. Families who were forced to leave in 1936, now in their 80s and 90s, come back to see their childhood homes one last time. Grandchildren who only heard stories about Loyston, suddenly standing on the actual street their grandparents walked. Strangers who never knew Loyston existed, driving hours just to witness something that feels almost supernatural. A town that was deliberately killed, refusing to stay dead. The last time Loyston fully surfaced was during a major drought. People stood on the old roads, touched the old walls, took photographs next to the church their great-grandparents were married in. One elderly woman, 87 years old, stood in front of the stone foundation of her childhood home. She had not seen it since she was 9 years old. When a reporter asked what she was feeling, she said just one thing. She said, "I always knew it was still there, waiting for me." That is the thing about Loyston. The government could flood it, could erase it from official maps, could call it progress, but they could not erase it from the memories of the people who loved it. And they could not stop it from coming back. Every few years, rising from the water, saying, "I am still here. You did not destroy me. You cannot destroy me." If this story moved you, if you believe some places deserve to be remembered, share this video right now. because Loyston's story deserves to be heard by more than just us. Subscribe for more incredible stories of towns that refuse to disappear. Because next week, we are covering a town that the US government tried to make radioactive, and the people who refused to leave, even after that. I will see you in the next video.